Most olive oil is kind of a lie. Most of you watching this haven't actually had the real, authentic, true thing. The extra virgin olive oil that you are pouring into your pan has likely taken an interesting route of fraud.
It's widely been reported that between 70 and 80% of extra virgin olive oil that the US imports has fraudulently been mislabeled.
Now, the interesting part about this whole situation is that fake olive oils has persisted in the US for so long that consumers have grown accustomed to purchasing low quality oils. Olive oil is hard to detect as fake. It kind of all looks the same. You have to have a trained eye if the color is off. The average consumer is just not drinking it. They're cooking with it, putting it on their salad, assuming it's legitimate and giving them health benefits. Olive oil fraud is shockingly easy and ridiculously profitable. It's $1 billion racket and people around the world are paying top dollar for what they think is a Mediterranean elixir of health. A lot of this fraud olive oil ends up on your supermarket shelf. The label will promise something like cold pressed, premium selection, or boast some fancy looking stamp of approval that, spoiler alert, means absolutely nothing. Like so many other things, the US has become a dumping ground for deceiving labeling in the olive oil industry. Thank you so much for tuning into another Read Media video. If you could take a moment to like and subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with future content. Now back to the counterfeit olive oil industry. Currently, almost all the world's olive oil is made here, in the sunny regions of the Mediterranean. Thousands of years ago, people figured out in this region that juicing the fruit of this ancient tree produces a golden oil that is like magic. Olive oil has existed as a quintessential component of the Mediterranean diet throughout the ages. It is even told that the citizens of Athens chose to name their city after the goddess of Athena, only after she offered them up the very first olive tree in existence. That is how important and popular olives and olive oil has been over the centuries. Yet, in the United States, it remained largely unknown. Enter the 1990s in the United States. Olive oil's presence has a little bit of a different story. Olive oil was still a bit of a foreign agent in American households. Right up until this time, most American kitchens were outfitted with canola oil and margarine. If Americans had heard of olive oil, they knew to avoid it. Then seemingly overnight, grocery store aisles were lined up with bottles of this new fanangled, healthy fat. All it took for this golden oil to catch fire in the United States was the craze of the Mediterranean diet. A group of 100 or so food writers, chefs, and porters and scientists traveled to the Mediterranean in the 1990s and early 2000s with a nonprofit called the Old Ways Preservation and Exchange Trust. Together, this group of people introduced the Mediterranean diet and, most important, olive oil to America. And things just insanely escalated from there. In the early 1990s, annual olive oil consumption was approximately 100,000 metric tons. 30 years later, by the 2020s, this figure has risen to over 400,000 metric tons, accounting for more than 15% of global consumption. Olive oil is no longer a regional thing, it's a global phenomenon. Once a niche product, olive oil has exploded into $1 billion industry. When the money started flowing, so did the scams. The demand skyrocketed, and suddenly not every bottle of extra virgin olive oil was what it claimed to be. Within this product, it's important to understand the dynamics of what makes each type of olive oil. A lot of people don't realize this, but olive oil is essentially a fruit juice. The production process is pretty simple. You're crushing olives and extracting their juice. The oily part of that juice is what ends up in the bottle. But not all olive oils are created equal. What you'll see on the shelves typically falls into 3 categories: extra virgin, pure, and light olive oil. Now, pure and light olive oils are primarily refined, meaning they go through a processing that strips away much of the flavor and some beneficial compounds. They're typically more neutral in taste and often used in cooking when you don't want a strong olive oil presence. Extra virgin olive oil, on the other hand, is the highest grade. It's not processed or refined. It's simply the result of pressing olives and extracting their juice. This high grade of olive oil is supposed to contain nutritional value and health benefits, which on the selling side make it a valuable commodity, and consequentially, fetching a high price on the market. These high prices and relatively low consumer capabilities to detect inauthentic olive oil make it a perfect product to scam consumers with mislabeling. So what is happening in between when it's processed and shipped to the shelves? Where does this fraud actually take place? More than likely, it stems from where the olive oil was bottled. American olive oil consumers believe that olive oil should come from Italy, so distributors will typically package it with a photo of a humble Italian farmer standing proudly in some sun-drenched picture perfect olive grove. You'll see Italian names, flags, and motives on the labels. A lot of olive oil sold in America is marketed as being Italian, even though it's not. Olives are grown all over the Mediterranean, Spain, Greece, Italy, Turkey, Tunisia, and other countries that grow olives that are destined to be turned into oil. A significant portion of that olive oil is transported to Italy, where it is then repackaged and distributed globally. In fact, as of 2023, Italy is the largest importer of extra virgin olive oil and the second largest exporter. So when the label says it's made in Italy, it's more than likely imported, repackaged, and then distributed globally. There are varying degrees in this part of the supply chain where olive oil can be mislabeled and adulterated. In some cases, it could be a blend of other oils of uncertain origin, or at its worst, not olive oil at all, but vegetable oil disguised with added color and fragrance. Real extra virgin olive oil has to come from the first press of olives, giving you those rich, healthy antioxidants, something a fake will not give you. The olive oil refineries in Italy are often linked to the Italian mafia, specifically the agro mafia, which has capitalized on the counterfeit olive oil market due to its staggering profit margins. Organized crime has increasingly shifted from drug trafficking to a more lucrative trade of liquid gold, generating profits on par with cocaine smuggling, reportedly as high as 700% in profit margins, but without the risk. So in summary, you have a billion-dollar market that has exploded over the last few decades, as Italy has positioned itself as a dominant middleman in the global olive oil trade. The industry has thrived on the perceived prestige of Italian-branded extra virgin olive oil, mainly in the American market. However, many producers have misled consumers to maximize their margins due to minimal regulations and labeling requirements in the US.